Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars, and let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today. As always, nothing in this video is my personal opinion. I will only be sharing the unbiased technical analysis and nothing more. There's a lot to go through in this video as we are about to head into a new week of trading. So let's start off with the immediate short term on this 1 hour time frame. Over the weekend, we basically traded in this horizontal range between 92,000 and 90K. So these are immediately the critical levels to look out for in terms of the market direction. Anything between those two levels is literally just Bitcoin chopping sideways. However, on this 4 hour time frame, we can see that these Bollinger Bands are currently squeezing the Bitcoin price, and the tighter these Bollinger Bands are squeezing, the bigger the next move for Bitcoin is going to be. For example, the time before this, when we saw a bit of a squeeze in these Bollinger Bands, we bumped from about 87K all the way up to 93K in the Bitcoin price. And in fact, right now we are squeezing the price even more than we were doing right here. So this is why I am expecting a lot of volatility to come into the market within the next 24 to 48 hours. Something else you should know about Bollinger Bands is that just because we pumped the last time does not mean that we actually need to get another pump this time around. It is in fact only indicative that we are likely going to see a lot of volatility in the market, but not that it needs to be to the upside. In fact, what the fuck? Holy shit, dude. Bro, what is... Okay, but coming back to this chart. So just because we pumped the last time around does not mean that we need to actually pump once again, because the Bollinger Bands are actually indicating that more volatility is likely going to come, but not the direction that this is actually going to go, which is exactly why coming back to this 1 hour time frame, we need to pay attention to these critical areas here. For example, at 92K and 90K, because let's say that we break this 92K level first, then the assumption has to be that we are going to keep pumping to the upside from that point on, with the point of invalidation being once again that 92K level. So if we do something like this, then that would actually be a big warning signal in the short term. Same thing goes for the other way around. Let's say that we are breaking down below 90,000, then this also becomes the point of invalidation in case we start to see a break back above that 90K level afterwards. But so long as that does not happen after we break, then the assumption has to be that we are going to continue trading lower and lower. And once again, this is backed up by those Bollinger Bands, indicating that we are likely getting some kind of big move on this 4 hour time frame relatively soon. Now, in terms of the support and resistance levels, right now we do still have this ascending line of support here sitting right around 89.4K. As far as I'm concerned, so long as we are holding above this, then Bitcoin is just trending up over time on this 4 hour time frame. There's already a bit of a warning signal flashing on this 2 hour time frame right now, because we are potentially about to break down below this critical level of support around 91.1K along this ascending trend line here. However, as I showed you on the other lower time frames, I am expecting a lot of volatility heading into this new week of trading. So this is why I'm not putting too much emphasis on this ascending trend line here, and rather focusing on the other points of confluence that I showed you earlier in this video. Now, moving on to this 1 day time frame, notice how right now we are still trading inside this big area of resistance, sitting from 90,000 all the way up to 92K. If we get daily candle closes above this 92K level, the next area of resistance above is already sitting from 95 up to 96K. And of course, we do have this descending trend line here in terms of support to the downside. In the case that we close daily candles below 90K, that is sitting from 87 all the way down to 85,000. Moving on to the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today, there's no new data, so we're just going to check back in with this in the upcoming week. Going to skip right over that. So next up, we are going to take a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. And in the case that you don't know, guys, typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. Right now, we have liquidity on both sides, which is quite typical in a weekend where Bitcoin is just trading sideways. You can see that liquidity will start to pile up below the current price and above the current price as well. So this 90K level as well as the 94K level are some key areas to pay attention to. Zooming out a bit to this 3-month time frame, right now most of the liquidity is in fact to the upside, sitting around 94K once again, even 98,000, but there is also a bunch of liquidity to the upside here above 110K. Now, as I've said many times in my videos here, guys, for me to even seriously consider some liquidity being grabbed up here or even at the previous all-time highs, I would need to see a break of this descending trend line first before I will start looking at liquidity to the upside like this. But of course, we can take advantage of short-term pumps and short-term dumps by actually trading the lower time frames. And in case you guys want to get started with trading, I highly recommend you check out the video description, because there's actually a bunch of trading fee discounts to help you save some money on trading fees, as well as get massive bonuses simply for signing up and depositing with the link that you see in the description right here. Either way, this has been today's market update. Don't forget to check out those links in the video description. But regardless, if you do end up doing that or not, thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.